How you doing, guys? Eric from worldwasteland.com. So we have finally seen Russia's response to the latest attacks and advances by the Ukrainian military / NATO forces. And what some people are calling a warning shot, although it's a heck of a warning, which is hundreds of rockets barrage across Ukrainian cities that are, well behind the actual lines, like Kiev and stuff like that, that initially weren't even targets of the Russian plan that they put out, like the offer basically that they made at the beginning for the contested regions. But apparently now that's mostly off the table anyway, for better or worse, depending on who you ask. And it's like we said, people were wondering why the Russian response has been non-existent, and they've been eerily quiet for the past couple days. Some people have said that they think the Russian forces were in collapse, and that's why. And we've covered that. And some people said it's because they're preparing for a winter offensive, and that appears to be more likely the case here. And we talked about how they had, up to this point, been reserved in their attack against Ukraine, not necessarily in like a moral sense, but just literally in what they could do. They've avoided just carpet bombing the entire country. They've avoided targeting the infrastructure elements of the country, which now apparently all bets are off because this latest warning shot of hundreds of missiles has been targeting their communications center. And actually, apparently, the British MI6 has had forewarning of this and actually warned Ukraine, said they had warned President Volodymyr Zelensky and the General Staff that the Russians would be launching a warning strike this Monday. Like I said, hell of a warning strike. Said what happened was no warning strike, but a massive offensive of over 100 cruise missiles launched from the air, sea, and land, as Putin noted, against Ukrainian energy, military command, and communications facilities. And people are saying, oh, they're targeting civilians. A lot of these were in civilian areas. I doubt they're specifically targeting just random spots. They just didn't care that there are civilians there. They took out, and like we said, up to this point, people still had internet, people still had power. Like, they were really keeping it into the areas that they were contested, and now that's off the table. Now over 60% of Ukrainian power grids are already knocked out. Over 75% of internet traffic is gone. And obviously that's 60% of their total power. It's probably targeted to the areas that they need the most. So their effectiveness is probably much worse than 60% knocked out. So, and the MI6 information says the shock and awe will likely progress in 3 stages. First, overload the Ukrainian air defense system. Already done. I mean, obviously they made enough get through. We don't know exactly how many of the 100 got through, but it was enough that they not only successfully overwhelmed the air defense systems that were present, they also now almost certainly know where those systems are. They could see where these things were launching from if they were hidden in any way. So that might have been part of this initial barrage, was just to uncover their defense systems and test it. And it's the second is plunging Ukraine into the dark ages, already in progress, like we said. Communications are going to be out, power's out. How well can these even air defense systems work? Can modern military stuff work without ample supply of power? Yeah, you have generators and stuff, but that requires even more supply line stuff. The command centers now don't have internet in a lot of cases. And third step, destruction of all major military installations, which they say is probably the next wave. So we'll see how that progresses. They were certainly correct about the warning strike. And it just goes to show that I think the people who had said that Russia was collapsing were misguided, and that they've always had this ability to just blanket Ukraine with conventional munitions without even resorting, if they start losing or panicking and resorting to even small nuclear weapons, it could get really hideous. And we're very likely now to see fronts open up in other places. We've already heard about crazy stuff happening in Belarus. And I don't know what to tell you guys other than I'm not surprised, motherfucker, as Nate Diaz might say. And that's not to say it's a good thing, but this is inevitable. It's going to get worse, and it's only going to be bad for the Ukrainian people and any NATO people that are stupid enough to go over there. For what? So all we can do is stay prepared, and the best thing you can do to get prepared for these crazy situations is to get a Rule of the Wasteland Survival Fishing Kit. Link will be in the description. I mean, if you just want a variety of essential fishing equipment for procuring food in an emergency survival situation, I don't know what else you should get. But seriously, you might want to think up, especially if you're in Europe, you might want to think about grabbing one of these mirror gas masks and filters. Link will also be in the description. There's a few week lead time on those, so if you think it's getting gnarly now, go ahead and order it. It's a safe bet. A good bet anyways, even if it's not come to fruition, a few $100s to make sure you'll be able to withstand different types of nuclear engagements. Not a direct hit, obviously, but you can deal with a lot of adversity if you have the right preparation. So let me know what you guys think, what you think we'll see next, and if this is just a last gasp of a flickering flame before it dies out in terms of the Russian capabilities, or if this is just the beginning of their new offensive, which is what I think. And also we're seeing evidence, reports come out from Germany that they are almost out of ammunition. And this apparently is coming from a German edition of the news website Business Insider, so it's not like, because obviously you hear that from the other side. We heard that Russia was running ammunition and everything, but it says that the German edition of Business Insider reported on Saturday, citing defense industry and parliamentary sources, that Berlin is significantly lagging behind the NATO requirement of maintaining stocks for at least 30 days of fighting. It has said that the problem has been known for years and that this was worsened by sending a bunch of deliveries of arms to Ukraine. So that's already used. Now they don't have anything left. And I really think that this is why the Nord Stream pipelines were attacked by either the US or NATO forces, is because it's so likely that Germany specifically and Europe in general is going to want to bow out of this conflict because they're not ready for it. They're already going to lose a massive amount of their production capacity and their industrial capacity just from their energy woes this winter, and which are already happening. And then now they're already out of ammo, basically. They have 30 days of fighting, and not to mention the logistical drain of trying to get all this stuff into theater and whatever. So I think it'd be very likely that they were like, you know what, yeah, this isn't even a NATO country, Ukraine. We don't have our biolabs there. Our presidents aren't necessarily getting all backroom deals, which, you know, they may or may not be. But so they would probably be very much more willing to just bow out and be like, you know what, we're not going to get involved in this regional beef. And I think that blowing up the pipeline was a way to try and prevent that, to say, no, it doesn't matter, the gas isn't going to turn back on unless we win now, so now you have to stay in the fight, and kind of burning the ships, as it were. So that's my opinion on the matter. Obviously, it's just an opinion. And like I said, none of this has anything to do with what I think should happen. It's just my assessment of what is happening. And we're seeing that too often, those lines get blurred by people who just think that because they think that what Russia's doing is bad, that means that everything we hear from the other side is correct, and that they're going to necessarily prevail, and all this other nonsense. And I guess just see who's been proven right and who hasn't. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you later.